Welcome to our Schoology Assessments Part 1 workshop. In this first lesson, we're going to look at setting up an assessment in your Schoology course. To do that, we are going to be working in a sandbox course, and this is recommended for any time that you're trying something new to learn a new skill. Do this in your sandbox course. On the Start Here page, there is information on how to do that if you haven't already set up a sandbox for yourself. Once you're in your course, you would go to Add Materials and Add Assessment. And this is the first thing that you're going to see is the Create Assessment dialog box. The first thing you're going to have to do is name your assessment. You can set a due date and the points possible. I'm going to leave those blank for our purposes. They do not have a star next to those, so those are not required elements. They are recommended elements, especially if you are going to sync this assignment over to PowerSchool. The next one that doesn't have a star next to it, but is very important, and I've seen teachers miss this step before, is next to submissions. By default, unfortunately, it is on disable submissions, and we probably want to enable submissions so that when we are in class and our students need to start working on their assessment, it is enabled for them. Password gives you the option. By default, it is disabled, but you can enable a password. This is a powerful tool to have at your disposal for quizzes and tests and assessments that you want to be in control of. Typically, when you create an assessment and it is published, which we see down here by this green light, published to students, any student can just click on that assessment within their Schoology course and start the assessment at any time. If it is a quiz, a test, and you want to be sure your students are doing it only in class during the allotted time, you can enable a password, and then you notice this box opened up to type in the password that you want for that assessment. You do need to assign a category. So the categories that you created for your course, you would assign a category. By default, this should be on the current marking period or grading period for that course. A factor of 1 is the default, but you can weight an assignment to be worth more. You have the syncing option of sync to SIS, which means it's going to sync over to PowerSchool. And then as with anything, you always want to make sure this is on the CASD default grade scale so that it matches the CASD grade scale. I'm going to unclick the sync to SIS because I don't need that for this purpose. Down here at the bottom, you also have some additional options. You can individually assign an assessment. So if you have ever individually assigned a folder or anything like that, you can also do that here. This is ideal for students with modifications from an IEP. Our ELL students who might need modifications, you can create a specific assessment for different groups of students and assign individually by clicking here. By default, publish to students. You can unpublish it so that they don't see it until you're done working on it. Grade statistics disabled by default. You can enable those and see in another area of assessments how that works. And then I don't have the ability here to copy to courses because this is my sandbox course. And from here, we would hit create, which we will look at in the next video, what's going to happen then.